We're ready to do a YouTube video, y'all. We're ready to do a YouTube video, y'all. I'm going to talk about how to save the West. Which should attract plenty of trolls. Look, first of all, I'm a Christian. That is my home. That is my nation. I'm very proud to be an American. I'm also proud to be a Brazilian. I love the West. Love the West. Love Europe. Love my European heritage. I will be sad, but okay to see the West die. Because God is saving the world through Jesus Christ. He's not saving the West. All will be redeemed in the end. Having said that, I sure am fond of the Western heritage, which is, to a large degree, Christian. I believe in such a thing as Christendom, for example. And I perceive, as do so many, that the West is committing suicide because they don't know who they are or why they exist. They've abandoned God. So they are being overtaken by more robust peoples. Which takes me back to a book I read. Author unknown, title disremembered. But you can look up these things that I'm about to mention. You know, scholars like to downplay things by throwing facts in. You've seen that, right? Oh, well, that only happened because of X and Y. Well, everything happens for a reason, y'all. It doesn't take away from the epicness of it, the romance of it, the awesomeness of it. I made a child. Well, that only happened because you inseminated your wife. Well, yeah, I know. But I made a child. So, back to the peoples of the West being overtaken by more robust peoples. A few centuries after the takeover of half of Christendom by Islam, almost all of Spain overtaken, except for the very north. Asturias, Castilla León. Protected by distance and by mountains. These red-headed descendants of Visigoths and Romans sallied out, and over the course of many centuries, gaining kingdoms and allies as they went, retook the Iberian Peninsula from Muslim kings. This was called the Reconquista. La Reconquista. The reconquest. And it's at the end of this thing, after, like 100 years after, that Don Quixote is written, a send-up of chivalry. But we also have a book like El Cid. El Cid is an epic poem about a great lord, a warlord, Spanish. There's a Charlton Heston movie. So, Don Quixote de la Mancha was a sign of a decaying empire. Spain was so powerful in the 1600s, the 1700s, but it was obvious to all that they lacked the virility and strength that they should. They were simply being carried on by momentum. The Spanish themselves could see it. And it's actually why, in my opinion, there's so much corruption in Latin America today. Is that by the time Spanish settled the Americas, they were a weak and corrupt people, relatively speaking. But over the days of their virility, when they swept down out of the hills and reconquered Spain. Now, why did I say that thing about scholars wanting to just explain things away by mentioning facts, as if facts weren't part of the romantic reality of life? So, the reason the Reconquista was able to begin was that there was a population explosion amongst these peoples sheltered amongst the mountains. So, these rude and crude, red-headed Christian descendants of barbarians had lots and lots of babies. Population explosion. They were able to sweep down out of the north. So, I'm going to give you now, because of that reality. I mean, that's just a reality. It's a reality. Doesn't make it less awesome, it makes it more awesome. The recipe for retaking the West, if you Westerners, care to. I'm going to put it very briefly, very succinctly. Save the West in 2 steps. Step number 1, mount your wives. Step number 2, mount your steeds. Done. Be the generation to make the new army, and be the generation to sally out in the vanguard. Now, I am confident, because I have mounted my wife at least 5 times. All my friends have done it at least 10 times. It's crazy. Like, all my friends have more kids than I do. Except you. You're my friend, and I know you don't have more friends than I do. Kids than I do. But we're in the minority. We don't live, you guys don't live with optimism. You don't think that you should just go out there and act like the world is yours to take care of and to have dominion over and to tend and husband. Okay, so be anemic. Let other people take it from you. Mount your wives, mount your steeds, make babies, go to war. Can't do that though if you don't know who you are. Women won't want you. They won't want your children. You won't know where to point your gun. Now when I say go to war, I don't mean literally go to war. You can do that too. I mean fighting the good fight. Knowing what your life is about and what you're struggling for and what you're struggling against. But you don't know that. Well, I suppose this is the end of the video. So, I guess now I get to decide. Will I go out into combat? Or will I go home and mount my wife? Tell you guys later. Peace.